We have so much to discuss today, I think.
Yep.
Good. Good. Yep, Shriti, we may as well get started. I think we're getting a bad track record of starting like 5 minutes late. So may as well
Right.
get going.
Is Prasanjit Mahapatra here? I don't think he is.
Not yet.
All right. We'll take that up later. Josh, why don't you just go ahead with yours? Um, these, I think.
Okay, so like, so who's presenting?
I am. Stop.
So like, can you just open layer5ng.net? Okay, so I'll do it.
All right.
Okay, so where's the image? I've added the subscribe box recently in the Layer5ng website. I think it's the image is getting loaded. Can you see the screen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the image is there. So, mm, any suggestions for this?
Yeah, there's a low contrast between the. Actually, before we start, let me just make sure that hey Siraj, and have you been on a website's call in the past?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Bad memory on my part. Sorry. Oh, very good. Josh, a couple of items, if you would give this consideration. There's a low contrast, or lower maybe than we might like, between the background and the font, the subscribe to stay meshy.
Yep. Maybe a less lighter shade of gray, or maybe it could just have a border instead of a background color.
So what I would suggest here, Josh, is to not use is to ideally probably not use a background color.
Okay.
It should be white, I think. It's not fitting properly.
It's a good experiment to do to see what it looks like to, um, bring in a design, well, like a design that we might use in a few different places. Like, what does it look like to have a colored container, if you will? Um, it might be worth. I mean, like, while I think that white or like transparent or no background is probably the answer, you might. I mean, since you're playing around with it, you might grab one of the other colors from the style guide or from the brand page. Like the blue, there's like a light blue, kind of a dark blue. I don't know if those would actually work here,
Listen,
but
I just tried the colors and the combination of the gray and the white placeholders and the yellow. It was like looking very good. So I just did it.
oh, yeah, interesting. Yeah. I mean, it might be that, hmm, yeah, as you play with something like this, it might be that a white or a white font color with a different icon, like not the forklift, but something else, might come together better. I don't know.
Okay, so I'll just try something different from this.
Maybe, yeah. If all else fails, the other thing about it is that it doesn't have the subtle shadow like most of the other components do. That might help. Um, that might help blend it in with the rest of the site.
Yeah, so I'll just like make some changes and I'll just ask on Slack what suits better, right?
Nice.
Okay, so moving on to the next thing, it's the project grid.
Mm.
Okay, so there is uh, there are two options for the project grid. So like I've currently pushed opened a PR with like limiting the title length to 2 or 3 words, and making it like a high fixed height. And the second option is this one, you where you can see like the full title, but still we have a fixed height, because anyways we won't be having a different heights of the cards. So like I'll just open the other one even.
The other one just had the one word. And it's still the same set of interactions. Like when you hover, it turns green and shows a yellow highlight in the background.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything is same, except the like only the height of the card gets reduced, and like here we will be seeing the extra space. So like if we use a single line to denote the title, then this extra white space for the smaller titles would get reduced. Nothing but difference. Netlify isn't working. So yeah, so this is like here we can just have we can reduce this white space if we like, if we go for like something like a 2 or 3 words title at max, so that can be fitted in a single line. So these are the two options. Everything else remains the same, like the hover color and the everything else, the white, the change to the white on and everything same.
Yeah. Where they're so close to each other. Like the difference really is just a single line versus multiple lines.
Yeah, so like I personally wasn't like very much into this multiple lines, so I tried of using single line, but Tanuj said that I like, why did you try this? So that was like my
Cool.
explanation, I can say.
Yeah. Let me suggest this, that that the site itself is. Let me suggest that, yeah, I guess that we switch into a mode in which we are pushing forth uh, somewhat briskly, and trying to get the right look and feel as we go, but that we would acknowledge, hey, in the end, before we go live, we'll have a couple or 3 or 4 iterations of like refinement. So at the moment, in some respects, your everyone's opinion might be slightly different now than it would be before we were to publish. So I would say this is like one of those refinements for us to take into consideration later. And for now, just choose just go with one. And I couldn't say at the moment which one is better. Like having the option for both might be nice if that's easy enough to keep around in the code, because we're ultimately going to have a lot of collections, a projects collection, an events collection, blog posts, and news. Um, I forget some of the other ones.
Books.
That, and so yeah, having them look a little bit different will be nice.
Okay, so like I'll just go with the current the exact title, whether it be 2 or 3 lines, and like in the near future we can do something else. And like
Nice.
other things I worked on this week is like making the few of the links working. And yeah, I would just like I'm not an expert or any knowledge in analytics, but yeah, I just had a look on Google Set Analytics data and the also generated Lighthouse reports. So like on the basis of Google Set Analytics, it is like we don't use many, like people don't use the languages as much. Like there is only a single language, I think that's uh, French or something, that's the most, like after English, that's the most commonly used. That's also like around 10 to 5 to 10%, not much more than that. So like regarding the languages bar, like in the beginning we had a discussion with Ishita regarding like we have to include the languages So I don't think like we would be having, because anyways the Google automatic translate would always be there for the if we are using us for a single language or something like that.
Yeah, interesting. Those statistics were from the current Layer 5 IO site.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Good to keep a pulse on it, or good something good to check back into. Yeah, I do consider um, that for as beloved as those flags are, that ultimately, if we do keep around the ability to use Google Translate for visitors to dynamically translate the site, we will probably reduce um, probably change the way in which people would switch around select their language, because the flags are just too much. It's just too much attention to something that doesn't get used very much, and it's a detractant from what we would rather people be looking at, and that is either a link to a Twitter feed or to a YouTube or to something.
Yeah, and the other thing I noticed from the analytics data is like currently we don't have I like we need to do some social media marketing to increase the reach. Like we don't have more redirects on our page. Like most of them are from GitHub and Meshri and a website named InfoQ. Like we don't have many other pages where like Meshery or the Layer5 has been listed, and like we get redirects from there. So yeah, we need to have some social media marketing as well.
Totally. Yeah, those referrals really help. They help with well, domain authority when others are pointing to your domain for a particular topic. Yeah, there's a whole set of activities to go around on SEO.
And for the performance part, like will I think I'll open a 2 or 3 issues in like for even for the Oktoberfest. Like there are a few things that really improve the performance or like give a positive feedback, like having alternate text for images, and like removing unused JavaScript and CSS and all such stuff. So I think we can open them for newcomers, and also we do have Oktoberfest coming up for them. So like
Nice. And that's again for the current site.
yeah, so yeah, we can do that for both of the sites, because the current site's performance data is like very low if we compare it with our new generation site. So like it's like around 40 to 50% of the new generation site, if we talk in terms of performance. So I don't think if that's an issue with the website, or because it shows like many of times it takes a lot of time to load. Even I personally face the same issue when I search for layer5.io. So it like takes around a minute or half to load the website. So I think it might be some issue with the internet or network, but when I saw the data, so I think yeah, there might be some issue with the performance of the website as well.
Huh. Yeah, interesting. I know the members page, the community members page with all of those images, that can be painful sometimes.
Yeah, for the new generation website, one more thing we have to do is like we have to remove the duplicate images. Like currently we have around like 200s of images in the Layer5 website, and many of them are like duplicate or unused. So we definitely have to remove them from the website. Yeah, so like that's all from my side for today.
Uh, I had a question. Means for the language flags that we have to change the languages, I Google by default offers the user from a different location to change the page to its to that language, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or we have to enable it in our site.
No, the
Means,
translate option is like enabled by Google.
that's why I was saying, do you really need that flag section?
Right. Yeah, I think it's in danger. It's kind of it's in danger of maybe not making it as we go live. Um, Nikhil, part of your point might have been that if is that all we're doing is providing a convenience operation for something that people can do already.
Yeah. Means
And
when
yeah.
they load, they see an option in the local language, suppose Spanish, and beside Google shows them to English or something more convenient. Then user can translate it from there. So it's reluctant in my sense to display them. I think hardly people use that feature.
Nikhil, I guess just to clarify, do you know, is for Google Translate, is there a different JavaScript interaction that they provide that's a little more apparent to users who are coming from a different country with a different language? That, like, we've
Yeah.
just chosen to, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, please. After a question.
We've just chosen to kind of place that choice into the footer, but I didn't know if part of what you were saying is that,
I
is
guess
that there's,
it's dependent upon the website. Means few of the websites are created based upon the location which the company is. So they open by default in some other language. But based on the user, Google automatically translates it to English and shows in the pop-up in the right side of the Chrome. Like the page has been translated to English based on your preference. But if you want, you can change it back to Spanish or something like that. Means we can even change to some other language apart from English or Spanish.
okay. Something to think on, Nikhil. Yeah. Maybe if you end up with a specific suggestion, that it would be good to consider it. Because yeah, I guess I won't repeat what I said earlier, but yeah, there's something to be done there.
I guess we have people from different parts of the different continents. Like if they can share some data that when they open the site, do they get such option or do they want to do such changes to the site to show them in their native language or something?
Yeah, I know for sure for Jesus Lerma. Oh, that's weird. I said Jesus and then Siri popped up. Sorry. I know that for the community that he's trying to help build that in Mexico, having spent some time there in that community, I will say that there's a lot of folks who don't speak English or can't read English either. And that's in part why he's doing some manual translation of the contributing guide. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's nice that we have the ability to change the language. The biggest issue from my part that I see is it's visually detract. Like, it's good that we've muted some of the colors a bit, brought down the vibrance of each of these colors so that it doesn't catch your eye quite as much, and it still lets the user see some of these other things. But even at that, it takes up a lot of landscape. It probably doesn't get as much use as, and even if it did like get a ton of use, we wouldn't care as much, as we still want people to go to these other links much more than we want to bring them here. If this turns into a drop down at some point, where it just says, choose a language, and then it drops down to, so if it only takes up like this much space overall, that's a lot better. It's still something that if people need, they can, I don't know, we might say choose a language, but then show them the current flag so that they would know that that is a language selector. But right now, yeah, so yeah, if you have a specific suggestion on how to change that, good. Else, before we go live on the new site, we might chop it. Because really, like, there's a bunch of other things to work on other than this. And people already have this very tool to use in Chrome or just on translate.google.com anyway.
What we can do else is that, just thinking that instead of showing the flags, we can create a small drop down with the name of the languages.
Cool.
And
That's
when
what I
the
just
user, Yeah,
I agree.
it will be translated to that.
It's a good
It will
idea.
be
Cool.
small, compact, and less visually distracting.
Cool. It's such a low priority at the moment. Yeah, totally. We should capture that, and it's a good thing to try to do. Um, yeah, that's good. So speaking of capturing that, so Josh, you got some feedback on things that you've shown. Do you want to quickly get your feedback captured, maybe?
Yeah, I'll just add it by when the meeting goes on.
Cool. Josh, one other piece of feedback here is that instead of /project grid -grid, I think we're ready to move over to /projects. And that actually might be something interesting for everyone on the call to learn. Josh, where are we tracking these? How are we setting these routes? Where are these things being registered, so to speak, in the site?
I didn't get exactly. Can you just repeat the question?
I think it's in the index.js. We set the path route for a particular component. If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, if anybody's
Yes.
able to show that.
So, are you talking about the individual pages or for the MDX files routes?
The individual pages.
Yeah, so the individual pages are like currently it's whatever you create inside the pages folder would automatically be a page with the URL as the name of the page.
Can you
And
show that?
yeah,
Can you
yeah,
show that?
I'll just show that. Man. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so currently it is anything you create inside the pages folder, it would be the name of the page would directly go to the website. So if it's like gsoc, then you will get it layer5 ng/gsoc. And if you like create a folder and then create something like the community and then members, then it would be pages. So sorry, not pages, it would be layer5/community/members.
Is there a way to control the well, what's the right word? The the text that's used in that URL path. Is there a way to control that other than the name, the file name? So I'm sure for the for the blogs, I'm assuming that we're including like the date in the file name, but the date isn't necessarily being used in the actual URL.
Yeah, I can answer that.
Uh,
So,
I think there is the option, but since this is the way Node.js works for routing, and the React router works in a bit differently. Like we add the components and the route name in the main file, starting file. But in the Node.js also, I guess we may be having a separate page where we direct the components with the page name
So I think there was
URL.
an issue created for this thing, change the URL to the tags or the categories, right? If I'm not wrong, Tanuj.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you open? There will be one file called Gatsby/node.js.
Can you
Gatsby
just get speed?
Gatsby Node.js.
Yeah, Gatsby Node.js.
So, okay, so there are actually two ways you can create pages. One is the default way in which you directly add the pages in a file in the pages directory, and another way is adding some kind of configuration in this file and creating a slug, custom slug that you want. So, no,
Cool.
completely.
And for the That's great. If you stop right there on like line 110 to 115, that's interesting. So like on line 110, we're saying there's a collection that we track. It's blogs. And what we're doing is saying that this is the formula, so to speak, for what that slug will be for
Yeah,
blogs.
yeah, we're creating the slug. Uh, just scroll down and complete the. We're creating the slug shape here, right? Uh, for the else part, this collection is the name of the folder in which we are keeping all the blocks. So it will be blog, and the later part is for the title. Yeah. So that um, for each block, it will automatically create slash blog slash the title of the blog.
So currently, like Lee, as you stated, we don't want to include the date in the URL. So currently, we don't have date in the URL. Currently, what we have is like a blog slash the title of the blog. So like if it's let's see an example, like if it's this one, a standard interface for service meshes, then the initial date part isn't up. It won't be there. Only the title would be there in the URL.
Are we using an SEO plugin at the moment?
Yeah,
And that's feeding off of the front matter?
yeah.
Okay. And now the convention that we're using for like the folder names for each of these blog entries, it's just a convention that we're using to put the date in there, right?
Yeah, it's not necessary. We can keep it in.
And okay, and Tanuj, you're hard to hear, but you're probably saying, hey, it's the same as what was being done on the other site, so we're just
Yeah,
nice. My hope. So this is interesting. Given that the dates are immaterial to the publishing of the post, or like they're not immaterial to the publishing of the post so much as the reader wants to understand when it was published, but rather internal to the system. Here it is. Uh, um, given that we'll have quite a few posts over time, would it mess up anything if we were to move to like a 2019 folder, a year folder, and then a month folder? We don't have to move down to a day, but just like those two levels would help, you know, help navigate the post a little bit.
I think it will hash out something. I'm fetching the URL in that case. Yeah, I think like it would be just one line change in the logic and then for the to open the Node.js page. No, not config. The same. That's it. I can.
I see.
You can just for the blogs you can just keep it fixed. Like it will be blog slash whatever file you find in that inside that folder slash the title.
Okay, got it. Well, thank you for letting me distract towards this. This hopefully others learned as well. The kebab case that is there, educate me if you would. That's just a
Lowercase.
that's
Lowercase, and
Lower,
like the spaces
lowercase.
would be replaced with dash, and uh, so like
sort of
the
slugifying, if you will. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. All right. So no word from Dhruv then on. I'm wondering how what we were just discussing will be affected when Strappy is deployed, like the structure of the folder names and things. Any word from Dhruv on that?
Not currently.
Okay.
I could ping him and ask him to come and call.
Cool. I just pinged him. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. that's it for me. We should go to the next item.
All right, moving on. Tanuj, do you want to take yours up?
So I'll just share my screen.
Oh, sure.
Uh, this page was added by, I don't remember, but so I made it dynamic. So currently this part is made it dynamic, and one question I had was that there is a there is also a path called slash internships here, but in that uh, there are also full-time opportunities. So should I create a URL for here also calling it slash internship, but give the full-time opportunities inside that also?
You're right that ideally they would be separated. That there aren't enough of them today that makes it really makes it painful that they're not. Um, it might be a better design moving forward if it's less about the type of opportunity or the type of role as much as it is just, hey, what's the list of those things? And so while the slash careers should describe the community and the company in general and the initiatives and the projects, kind of give people a sense of what that's like. And the internships can call out like how long they are and some things. Like while those are descriptive, there does need to be a link that shows all of the available opportunities. And so maybe that link isn't slash careers, and maybe it is not slash internships, but rather it's like slash careers slash available, or like maybe it's something else. Because maybe we're conflating a description of what those things are with the open opportunities.
Currently, should I keep it in the careers part and
Yeah, I
otherwise
think that that's
that
good. Like this is great. I think as a subsequent conversation, we can do. Oh, that's great how you've separated them out into sections. That's nice. As a yeah, and this is all on the slash careers, right?
yeah.
Okay, very good. And then does the a slash internships still remain?
Currently, I haven't created it. I just have to add the
Okay,
section I wanted to ask where.
sure. It might just yeah, that makes sense. Let me follow up with you after the call. Maybe we just have a redirect to capture that old URL, and it just comes here. But we can talk a little bit about what this will look like in the future, and then that will help decide.
Oh, I just had one thing to point out here. Means, if Tanuj, you are working on this pitch, can you reduce the box shadow for the cards for the internship and future work?
So,
Means it's hiding the text, the heading for the stating that full-time opportunities and internships
okay.
in the shadow itself.
I was just saying the thing like, can we increase, like, can we have a standard heading size, like use some of like out of the six heading, because this seems quite smaller as like if we think if of it as an heading.
Uh,
Yeah,
so, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I can try to keep the standard heading. I think it was too big for the card. I'll check on it. And any changes needed for this card?
Uh, I think it's good. Means it's a bit different from the other ones. Any other feedback is welcome. It's just my opinion.
Another thing, can you explain again what you were telling Nikhil for this page? Or should I?
For this page,
Yeah,
uh, okay. So what I wanted was like the card which is coming up.
yeah,
Instead of showing the name and the icons for GitHub, Meshmate, and Twitter on the card itself, it would be better if it can be moved out of the card and a small label like name and the get in touch via this can be used instead of showing that in the card. Name, then position, which will be contributor comma Meshmate, and only the image of the person. That too, if it's in the square, it would be good. But yes, circular also looks good. I'm saying that as so that it can be a bit different from the page that we have on the community/members page. Otherwise, listing the members on a different page won't make much sense because we are simply just increasing the photo image size of the person and showing the same thing again of the photo image. So,
Yeah, I'll agree on that. So I think if it's like it's just a suggestion, like along with the icons, like we can have them stacked vertically, and with the icons we can also have the links beside to make it something like a page or something.
page for
So like currently it's the same as what we see in a smaller view on the members page. So like we have to do it some we have to do some difference, we have to make some difference between both of them. So like as you said, we will have it, we can add a line like get in touch with. So along with that we can just increase, like introduce some text, like for some a small description about the person, like problematic I can say, because for each and every person like has to insert so can we can do one thing like the icons are good enough, but along with the icons we can also like list down the links, and like you can also click on the link or something like that, because so it's
uh,
just a suggestion, like I don't feel.
yeah, means I just wanted to know what the links will point to.
Yeah, so like if it's the GitHub link, the link would the text would be the link, and it would also point to the same thing the icon is pointing, but like it would be like the icon dash the link, like a link in the text form, then the on the next line the like Twitter icon and the Twitter link, and like it can be on a vertical scale, I think.
Showing the link itself https://github/ the
Or
username would
handle
be
or
a good idea.
something. Yeah, okay, so like it was just a
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, I understand. Means, yeah, a handle can be shown, or we can just say out loud the icon which it's being represented, like show GitHub icon and then GitHub. Or in future, if we want, we can that all the users that we are listing, and from the next time onwards, when we are adding a new user, we will ask the user to provide a short description about whom or her when we are adding it to the page, so that it won't be a huge task later on, leftover task later,
yeah, so like
and we
just
can show that the description here.
Yeah, something just like what he's working on. So like if it's
Yes.
Tanuj, then he's working on websites. If it's anyone else working on Meshery or Image Hub or something like that.
Yeah, it can contain anything. Means whatever he preferred, like what he's working on, like a bit of small detail about his background, something like that.
Like sort of a status bar.
Sorry,
Sort of a status bar.
status bar.
Can put it only.
Neil, I didn't get your question.
Like you were saying that we can add a simple line of what he's or she is doing during this period or week, like kind of status that we get on Slack.
No, not on week. Means then it will be dynamic and we have to change it later on. Instead, a small background detail would be good. Like, okay, this is a person. We are going to this individual page. This is what he does and what he's doing now in Layer 5. And if you want to know more about him, we are listing three icons, which is GitHub handle, Twitter handle, and he being a meshmate or something other than that, just contributor, maintainer, founder, anyone. So you can know about, more about him from that link.
Okay.
Okay, so like a very harsh suggestion I can say, like if we don't currently add the description, I don't feel there is a need of separate page.
Uh, yeah, it can be said. Means yeah, we were having that for the Meshi.io site. It was implemented firstly in that site itself. Same pattern was followed for the Layer 5 site. So yeah, that's why we are planning to have this page. And adding a description part would means give this page a much more value. Only any suggestions on that?
Yeah, Josh has got some great ideas. Josh, thanks for bringing this up. I agree. This is not. It's somewhat silly to have a page dedicated to the individual if there's like literally no difference other than just it's a bigger version of the card. And so the concepts that you guys were discussing make a ton of sense, and they help facilitate for people self-identifying a meshmate that they might like to pair with. So yeah, very simply, there's can be some factoids about the individual that can be presented here that you wouldn't see in the grid view. And those factoids would need to be relatively well, relatively long-lived. So right, while it would be really cool to see the whether or not Tanuj is online in Slack at the moment. Maybe that's something we could do in the future. Like maybe more of a real-time status thing could be interesting at some point. But immediately, what is of interest to understand is that like, hey, what time zone is Tanuj based in? Because if I want to catch up with him, when would I try to schedule time with him or what have you? Like time zone would be great. Area of focus. So Layer 5 NG for Tanuj and whatever those things are. It might be, it's kind of two things. It's like, it's potentially technologies of focus or areas or technologies of comfort or familiarity. You try to use some terms that give people some grace, but it would be things like JavaScript, or React, or whatever Tanuj feels like he's comfortable with and sort of wants to affiliate with. So it's like projects that he is or has worked on. So those would be which projects within the community, technologies that are of comfort, or that you might, if you're having trouble with, you might go see Tanuj about. And then yeah, time zone is helpful. I mean, it could be time zone. It's time zone / country or something. Those are definitely, those are like not super personal things. The values of what is written into those fields is up to the individual. they want to identify as an expert in Erlang, great. Or that they don't know it, great. I mean, but yeah, without something else, it's, it, it's the right, it would be the right call to make. It would be, well, we shouldn't have the page because it without additional info, it kind of looks like we're just using a template or something like that. Like you, cool. So does anyone want to take that on? What we just described? Does anyone want to um, give a shot to a profile page? There are other pages to take inspiration from with other programs. AWS heroes, Microsoft MVPs, Docker captains, CNCF ambassadors, etc. Not all of them have individual profile pages. Um, a lot of times what they will do is, some of them have a little modal that will pop up, and that's basically a page. Um, so any volunteers, anybody passionate about this, want to take this one on? And actually, I'm thinking of not Josh, not Nikhil, not Tanuj, not Neil, more like Siraj. And we had like Siraj. I don't know if this is an area of interest for you and Manish, but I just want to make sure we've got you guys involved somewhere here.
Yeah, is that an issue for this or not?
I don't think that there is something written up. That's a good point.
No, there's not. There's no issue.
Okay.
But I can go create one.
Okay, I think we can create an issue and then we will carry forward it after my brand page is complete.
Nice. Perfect. Actually, Siraj, since we've got you talking and things, and just to make, like, we've only got about 10 minutes left, did you say you were working on the brand page? Is there something for us to review?
Uh, yes, yes, we can review it. Shruti, can you share your screen
Oh,
Yep,
yeah,
sure.
sure.
or
I can
whoever
share.
just share the
I can
screen can show. I have
one of the
I've
solution.
changed this gray color, Tanuj, as you said, as Nikhil said, give it a shot for shadow for the this by removing this gray color. I have removed that, but there are some work which is left regarding that color palettes, which are not possibly images, but are something I have to like code in HTML. So that part is still remaining. So I've like let me complete it and I will submit again. Like I will commit the change.
Okay, sure, sure.
Yeah,
You're talking about this, right? These are the images currently.
yeah, man.
Tanush, can you just scroll up a bit? Uh, so, like, is that the recent peer that changed the white color? Sorry, the black color in the original site is that been taken care of? Side. So, can you show the meshery portion?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So I think that's been taken care of. Cool.
I guess, Josh, what you were saying was, I know the color was listed wrong, right, for the brand page. So
Yeah.
here is not using the div, he is using images instead of div. So that's why we are getting the correct color.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Was not aware of that fact. Like it was not images. I just fetched the images from old repo, and I just thought that let me correct it in few hours or 2 days. Okay.
Yeah, no issues. We'll be waiting.
Okay, man. No problem. Thank you.
I think we do have Dhruv on the call.
Yeah, hello, my bad. Sorry, what are we talking about?
We wanted to have the means ability like currently in the blogs page when one of the blogs is being directed to, then we are showing the blog date when it's being listed in the site, then the blog title. So Lee wanted was that instead of showing that, we will only be listing the blog title, and when the directory folder, the site folder where we have all the blogs, MDX files listed. So if that it is possible, it for it to be sorted out in a directory structure like the year slash months, but only the title part will come up on the site and not that middle part. Is
See,
that something related to Strapi, or will it be done through Gatsby?
we, it should be done by Gatsby in my case because you don't want to fetch data every time, right? Strappy would only get new info or modify the info once there's a change in Strappy itself, or once you are running the Gatsby or restarting Gatsby. So you can have a GraphQL query for that also in Gatsby itself. If that
That
makes
was only the question for the right, if I'm not wrong. Did I ask something wrong?
did I answer something wrong?
I think I was.
If I didn't get anything, you can like.
I think that was the question, but I think my connection got lost.
All right, if
Uh,
that's it.
Sorry, did I just ask a question? I thought I answered a question. I'm so.
No, you said it right. Means I guess Lee was. If Lee, I think you were searching for asking for Dhruv for this question, right? Or is it something else?
Yeah, no, this is. I might even be missing all of what we're chatting about, but yep, Dhruv, I think it's probably just a note that as you're going through and McCool, the thing was with the two Drappy, I'm sorry, with the two Strappy instances that hopefully you were going to toss up one really fast a week or a couple of weeks ago, just so that we can get into poke around and play and blow up things and make mistakes, while Dhruv was taking a bit of a longer, intentionally a bit of a longer time to establish more of the production deployment. Either way, as you guys investigate all of Strappy's capabilities and how you configure it and the different choices that need to be made, one thing to keep in the back of your mind and to write down inside of the site design spec to like write down as part of this deployment architecture is the how it for the blogs collections. As a specific example, we have a collection of blogs on the file system. Those blogs are laid out in the folder names that each individual blog is stored within. The folder name has the year, the month, the day, and then the title of the post. And so part of what the question that we were asking earlier, I think Dhruv, that you already spoke to, is just like, so I think now, is like, hey, how does that affect the Strappy configuration? And when as Strappy comes into the scene, do we need to refactor? And so maybe not something that you guys can speak to at the moment, but just something to make sure that you're addressing as you become
See,
Strappy experts.
right now to get the data and filter data, we are using GraphQL queries, right? In Gatsby itself. That's the
Yeah.
same thing which we will do when we have Strappy 2. I'm not getting it.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. And I actually, let me, that's actually the answer. Like that's, I think what you're saying is, yeah. When we do move to Strapi and someone goes to author a new post, they will do that using the Strapi UI. For those that are doing it in Strapi, they'll use the Strapi UI. They will Strapi then write out that post into the same structure that's being used today, or will it store that somewhere else?
It will be stored in the database itself, but the Gatsby app will also be connected to Strapi with a webhook, right? So every time a new post is added or modified, it will like add this data again locally in Gatsby, right? And then yeah, you would have the updated data.
I think the question is like, will we be having a structure of blogs on the basis of year and month wise in the Strapi database itself?
Yeah, matlab the one which you have locally. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, we're
Um,
actually at time. And
uh,
before Shri
yep.
takes us all the way off, I want to ask um, if you're on the call but don't. So Manish, good suggestion about light and dark mode. The reality is like it's not critical. It's not an MVP item for the site going live. And we're going to start to really refine toward going live. And so, Manish, if you were to work on it, we'll probably push it to a post going live. If you want to work on something else that would be included when the site goes live, there's a number of things that are described in issues already that would be good to pick up.
Yeah, I have one issue, assigned issue of migrating the two blocks to the new site, and I think there is a event page is not working, but I don't know if
Event
someone
page
is
is
working
there.
on.
I don't think someone is working on it.
Um,
If someone is not working on that, I can take that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Shreetik, there is an issue, right, for the events page also?
Oh, yep, there is.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah, I
tag you on
guess.
it, Manish.
Okay. Thanks.
Great. Before we go any further, Pratyay, I think you had a topic.
Yeah,
The
about the footer, if I'm not
Yep.
wrong. Okay, 1 minute.
Want to quickly demo it?
Yeah, I can.
Hey guys, before we go over time, because Neil, you demoed this in the community call, I think.
Yeah.
I would say that for anyone who needs to go, please go. There's a recording of this from last Friday.
Okay.
But then other than that, Neil, yeah, take it away.
Should I show it?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay.
While Neil is coming up with that, Shriti, do we have all the issues created for migrating the data, or any of them is left?
I think the about page was left, and the news articles, the individual news articles were left, but Tanush created those. So I think we're covered.
And is someone or the other working on that, or is still left to be assigned to someone?
A few issues are stagnant, but most of them are being worked on.
Good.
like,
Is my screen visible?
Yep.
uh, yeah. Hold on.
Okay, so this was the previous footer, and I redesigned that to this. So I added a logo over here of S&P, aligned all those social icons over here, added a copyright section over here, added a Twitter widget over here, and here's some kind of description that service mesh provides. That's pretty much it. So
Mm,
yeah,
just a question. Yeah, like the deploys by Netlify is to be kept. Is the deploys by Netlify to be kept? Uh,
yeah, I asked this thing Actually, he said there's no problem. Keep typing here.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, this to this.
It
Okay,
looks
so
good, brother.
I have
Thanks,
some
Rudy.
feedback
Yeah,
if
please go on.
others have done. So, what we can is this final or do you need to do some changes?
This like the response. It has a lot of responsive issues, as it was mentioned yesterday by Josh, and I'm working on it. And
No,
apart from that,
apart from the responsiveness.
no, it's final.
Okay, so what I think can be done here is that we have the logo and we have the description for service line performance.
Okay,
So the description part can be moved below the logo,
here. Okay,
and the socials icon that we have in the bottom part can be moved just uh, upwards above the tweets section, like so something a small heading like social or contact us or get in touch, and then with this social icon, and then the Twitter handle.
I can do that, but will it look that good? I just taking feedbacks. That's it. Like
Means
I stacked all these icons over here in
yes.
the photo section. But if I do this like
To be
that's
honest, the icons in the bottom part looks much better than to be there in the top of the Twitter handle. But I'm saying this as the footer looks a bit empty. And are we planning to move? We can have some links to the to other pages for layer 5 or mission, like the resources, the docs,
okay,
the
okay, okay.
GitHub links,
So
so
uh,
that
so so
the
you so you
that
can
part
do
is
one thing.
enabled up.
You can text me the links, and I will replace the links over here having some kind of header like sources or resources, and I'll move this part to here.
Yeah, we'll chat in Slack. No issues.
Okay, okay, okay. Any more feedback? Anyone?
It's
Also,
awesome.
is the
Neil.
color needs to change to the header part, or should it be left to black?
I think black looks good over here. I took the inspiration from masonry. The color is blackish.
Yeah, I was saying so because like when we have in the bottom of the page, we are showing three different colors in same screen. So is it good or shall we move it to the header? Just ask, not sure.
Um, I think it looks good. Like it's my personal preference, but yeah, if you guys can suggest anything better, I'll surely go for it.
Does anyone have anything? Oh,
So I think like whatever Nikhil said, can you just try it on local and send us few screenshots, and then like we can decide on the basis of how it looks.
Yes, sure. Yes, sure. I can do that. Okay, so yeah, that's it.
cool.
All right, that's it. Thank you for coming in, everybody. That's the end of the meeting. See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Ah,
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.